which is kind of
So
cool.
the purpose of the potato in the framework is really just kind of a branding like meme.
Well, it's to unify all things, right? You can see what we're trying to do is we're unifying neurobiology, a new understanding of it, with old scripture, old religion, putting it all as one, saying, hey, this is God. We're giving God a name and a face and a humanity, and we're answering everything. We're closing every loop by potato, by the power of potato, and then we can sit down and have fries, and we don't have to talk about it ever again. As in, like, oh, it's done deal. Tim Dooley is God, and we found it, and he's the Mashiach, and
I thought
now,
we were all God though.
well, I mean, this the whole implication.
Sure, we're all gods, but Timbo is the better god. Greetings, meatbags. We join the Sultan of Spud as he gives his best pitch for potato. We think you'll agree. He changes his origin timeline and fudges other details. But this is the most erudite we've seen him about this nonsense. Let's listen.
I
So
think there's like a logical leap that we're skipping over.
okay,
Which is sure we could point out,
Go ahead.
these things in the human body. They have this like oblong
Mhm.
shape. They've been selected for. We have bilateral symmetry, so we typically have two of them.
Yep.
Potato, I guess. I mean, it looks like this. You could also say it looks like a bean, a kidney bean, an egg.
Yeah, but
Okay,
eggs
that's
don't
fine.
grow
We have these
roots
type
though.
of
These they have
structures.
roots. They're seeds. They grow roots, right? There's roots growing out of them. So that's what makes it more potato, less egg.
Yeah,
Eggs-
but a yam. I mean, we could find lots of plants that have similar traits. I don't
Okay,
say the
go ahead.
potato is
Go.
special. But so what? That's why I asked. Is it just like sort of a? Because obviously potato is sort of like a funny thing, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's just sort of like a kind of a branding thing.
Yeah,
But-
it's so foundational. It's
So
so
you believe-
bland that it just kind of like it fits as a key that no one would just see. But when you see it, you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. So it bridges a lot of understanding as well, does it not? It's like, oh, that's the house. Oh, that's the vessel. Oh, that's the father he was talking about. And when you get
you
the
said
keys,
You died recently, right? You died this year, and
yeah,
you were given a
spiritually.
vision or something of the potato prophecy.
Yeah, the prophecy I saw was the USA will be attacked by a nuclear attack.
Really?
Yeah.
That's supposed to happen.
I don't know when. But that's part of the prophecy.
Okay. You made the prophecy, right? You prophesized it.
Yeah, I had a dream about it in 2011. So, but we don't know if it ever. So, but that's the only prophecy I've ever made. That's the only prophecy I will make. Because it says in the Bible, in the last days, they will have visions and see things, and so that's my vision. That's what I saw. I saw Washington D.C. getting blown up.
I think I had a log at a time. I don't know. I have this general theory about prophecies, which is that
And so,
they're always.
you think, Tim, do you think that you're the only one who could save people from this prophecy? Is that what's going on here?
No, that's
Or
just
from this disaster?
no, I don't think so. But I think that it's possible to prevent, and it hasn't happened yet, right? So, but that's the foundation of something as well, right? Is that, well, the prediction is that the empire will fall someday. Somebody
That's
is.
guaranteed, though. Isn't that guaranteed? That's kind of like a sort of a. Forgive me, like a cowardly prophecy to make. If I say someday this thing is gonna decay,
Sure,
that's
but
always
I
gonna be true.
didn't choose the dream. See, I was in the middle of doing my own life when it happened. I had this dream, and I saw this city getting blown up, and it looked like Washington D.C. I've never been there. So, but it looked like the White House. It looked like American flags. It looked like an American city. It looked like American skyscrapers. It looked like there was like a lake, and there was like a tree line, and there was like these skyscrapers, and then there was like
Okay.
there was a light.
So you saw.
Oops, Timbo, you made a boo-boo. You're thinking of the Washington, D.C. they show in movies. In reality, you won't find skyscrapers there. Here, we'll show you. Look at all those buildings, not one of them over 10 stories in height. Love to break it to you, Timbo, but the kind of skyscrapers you're thinking of, just aren't here. Now we do have them in places like New York City. See? If you saw these in your dream with the White House, what you saw was a conflagration of D.C. and another major megapolis. In other words, your vision couldn't even get the scenery straight.
Let's say, sure, you saw Washington D.C. in your dream, but I'm asking, like, let's say a random person, why do you think they would put more weight into your dream than someone else's?
They don't have to. That's fine. I can only say what I saw, right? I can only say that was the dream that I had, was that Washington got blown up, and that was in 2011. So look, I saw this. It was weird because I didn't understand the dream when I saw it, because what I saw was like drone footage, right? It was like a camera and it was up in the air, and I did not understand in 2011 cameras in the air. I was like,
cameras in the air were beyond your understanding in 2011. Jesus hates Spud Dud. They've had aerial perspective views for well over 100 years at this point. You saw them in textbooks, movies, and video games by then. Here, proof. You're looking at the USS Macon over New York City. We picked this picture to illustrate two things. First, the very concept of seeing a city by air was already old news by this time. Second, the United States once had our own airships.
Yeah, they didn't have they yet.
yeah, because
They didn't have planes yet.
right, and so, but I saw, this is what I saw, right? So I saw a drone footage camera, and I saw it over Washington, and I saw it getting blown up, and I saw how the well, I saw everything getting destroyed, but also, yeah, I don't know. It was a drone footage, so it was like, it was the perspective was from up above. It was from a drone footage, and it was not. I checked the scene from Terminator 2. I looked at it. It's not the same scene. What I saw was my own, like, it might have been from the movie. I don't know, but that's what I saw.
So you think you sort of embodied this drone's consciousness or something? Like, why would you be looking from the camera?
No, I had no relation to the.
Or were you
to-
watching a screen or something? You're watching a screen of this thing happening.
Well, that's what
Of the
the
video.
dream was really weird, because it didn't feel like a normal dream, because it didn't have symbols in it. It was just a very, very specific dream. You know, it didn't have, it didn't morph into other dreams or something like that. It was very specific. It felt like I saw it was very clear, right? I saw the drone footage, like a camera. Like I saw the whole thing through the drone camera, and I could see this scene. I could see these people below the tree line. I could see it was just like a physical place, like an actual physical city, like an actual real city, real people,
Okay.
etc.
So, if you don't mind, if I just try to summarize, so you had this dream. So that was before
I'm not ignoring you,
you
Chad. I
died,
see.
right?
Guys.
And then you died spiritually last year. This led you to believe your current sort of framework about the potatoes, right? And that you're God, right?
Mhm.
And do you think that's sufficient, like, to believe that you're God?
No, I don't think so, and I don't.
Just not for someone else, for you personally. Like, why? For your own belief, for you to believe it, not for someone else.
Well, I like my theories. I like to make theories. I like this concept, and I don't necessarily have to. Like, people don't necessarily have to agree. I just know. I don't. Wait, what's the question again?
I was asking you for your own belief, because, like, what do you think what you've seen is, like, sufficient evidence to have confidence that you're, the Messiah, you're the prophet?
Well, the end time seems to be here. I mean, Israel has kind of doomed themselves, and everything seems to be. I mean, they're looking for a Mashiach that can fix everything.
You know, Timbo, the trouble in Israel/Palestine isn't a new thing, right? There have been wars, many of them since 1948. In fact, you're not the first person to point to the wars there as a sign of end times. The meatbag had a friend in grade school whose parents were pretty fundamentalist about their Christianity. They were sure that the violence in Jerusalem was the sign that World War III was right around the corner. Over 30 years ago. So, you're not only not saying anything new, you're saying the same thing that has proven to be wrong for decades.
And so all I'm saying is that I'm already here, and if people believe in me, then they're also already here.
So do you think that the part about like it has to be from the bloodline of the King David, do you think that holds? And if so, you think that he is your ancestor?
Well, I am, because I was born in the sign of Leo, so I am that lion. I am the Lion of Judah.
Spud Dud, you just answered a requirement regarding heredity with your birth sign. This is very similar to when Meaty Me was asked if he was bisexual, and he answered that he was actually goth.
Good call, C8. Yeah, you might want to ask a rabbi or two about your theory here, Timbo. They will most likely tell you that being born a Leo doesn't make a damn bit of difference in proving your claim to be the Messiah. Not when they want proof your bloodline can be traced all the way back to David. You know, the guy who killed Goliath. Does your family come from the Middle East? Because you look pretty Scandinavian to us.
I was born in the house of Leo.
Are you over 21?
I was born in September.
Touchdown!
Wouldn't that make me the Lion of Judah? Wouldn't that make me from the...
I think it's like related to your genetics, right? Like you're
I'm also O negative.
descended from this person.
I'm also O negative.
That's Super Timbo, but again, not what the Jews are looking for. Unless the Davidian bloodline is predominantly O negative, of course. Let's ask Google if it knows. Well, it says no. We're willing to buy that because blood typing totally wasn't a thing back in the day. So once again, someone has asked to see your credentials, and you showed them a federal boob inspector badge. Not good enough.
Which the Anunnaki, they believe it's the ancient god blood. You know, I have that blood too.
Except we're talking about Judaism, Spud Dud. Judaism.
So, but I mean, we could take a genetic test. I'm
We don't have
talking.
a
Wait,
sample
wait.
from
Can
King
you?
David.
Can they not hear
We don't-
this? No, they can. Yeah. I'm talking to a guy called David.
Hey chat. I'm King David. I lived. I didn't die like I told you.
That's pretty cool. So you have some claim to some divinity too, is what you're saying?
That is exactly what he's saying. And because you seem to have missed it, he fits the Messiah better than you do, because he is claiming to be related to David. Actually, David himself. So yeah, if he can back that up, you're already out of the race for Messiah. And really, that's for the best. The Jews don't need an anti-Semitic Messiah, do they?
Yeah, I have well, I got Divinity 2 on Steam. I only have like 100 hours, but it's a fun game. I mean, before Baldur's Gate, that was their best game for sure.
Yeah.
This sudden change in conversation was not edited in. It's just what David said.
Yeah, we know that Portal and Portal 2 is actually just a game about Tim Dooley. Have you ever played Portal?
Yeah, I know Portal.
Yeah, you know how the computer tests you? That's actually just Tim Dooley.
That's the computer is Tim Dooley.
Yep.
You heard it here. Timbo is the bad gal from Portal 2. Funny, GLaDOS seemed more cake-oriented than potato.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I never did that.
Yeah, you know how if you go through test chambers, that's Tim Dooley.
Let's face it, to him, everything is Timbo Dooley.
You know, people I mean, I don't know how to explain it.
Observation. Severe mental illness that Timbo chooses to not seek treatment for. That's how we explain it.
Is that also
I don't know. No, that's
because it's circles. Halo's like a circle, right? And then Halo 2, that's two circles.
Transition. King David and the other VC participant talked about the holy nature of the Halo franchise being based on circular structures in line with Timbo's overlapping circle obsession. It was boring. After they left, Angry Sid made a point that also made Timbo highly uncomfortable. That caused him to clean his couch with a series of moist chamois. We now proceed to that part. The point will be read by... Hey! Remember yesterday when I said you just want fake stuff and don't appreciate real conversation? I think that just proved it. Ha 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 ha.
They're not convinced yet, but they will be someday. Yeah. How are we doing out there? How can I cook you something up? Can I cook you something, or? He mentioned from your end, I think, Dooley. Yeah. But yeah, we could, what else can we say? He meant your site was fake. Oh. Oh. Oh? Oh, you think the potato is fake?
We couldn't script this better. Timbo asks if we think potato is fake, then immediately starts typing an AI prompt to back himself up. If someone asks a question or makes a point, and your first instinct is to run to AI, you have officially lost your license to think.
Let's see. All right, let's hear. I cooked a little bit up for you.
Quote from Angry Sid. You don't want to have real conversation. You shut down and make AI talk. You'd prefer to have people pretending to want to hear about your delusions.
Timbo never did address this point. Instead, he did this. We can't help wondering if someone told him he's been sleeping face down in the blast pad that receives his holy farts, because cleaning his couch seemed like kind of an odd thing to do at this point. The meatbag was reminded of a game he played long ago called Crisis in the Kremlin. Every now and then a phone would ring and the player would get several options on a paper. They could also just drink their tea, which basically meant do nothing. Timbo drank his tea. On a side note, doing nothing during a no-confidence vote was almost always a solid way to end the game. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this look into the madness that is the King Nothing of Spuddom. Thank you for checking this out. We hope your week is a stellar one.